Hello, and welcome to the first of the level 54 player dungeons. There are, in fact, 17 of these. We're going to be doing them all in relative order of release. And we'll throw in some trials in between that. Basically, I intend to do all of the 2.x content in relative order of release. So I'm going to start with the 2.0 stuff. And that's going to involve 5 trials, 2 dungeons, and then we'll go on from there. So Wanderer's Palace, you can actually play this dungeon before you play the endgame. You can actually unlock it prior to completing Castrum and Praetorium. This was a very popular dungeon to farm tomestones when the game first came out, because it was definitely the easier of the 2 level 50 dungeons. And this dungeon centers around Tonberries, classic enemy from Final Fantasy lore. Little green creepy things with chef's knives. Note that if you have ranked up your Grand Company enough to have the level 3 hunt log, that there's a few of the enemies in this dungeon are, in fact, in the hunt log, including Tonberries themselves. Now, the key in this dungeon is you've got to watch out for the Tonberry Stalker, a particularly large Tonberry that will ruin your day. It will slowly walk through the dungeon, and once it spots somebody, will rush in to attack. That treasure coffer in the back of the room is a trap. There isn't really anything valuable in that chest, but if you try to approach it, enemies will spawn. Observe. Alright, now it's time for Enkindle. So yeah, most parties don't even bother with that treasure chest, but I think I'm not the only new player in this dungeon, so the other player probably didn't know that. The other reason this was a very popular dungeon to farm back in the days is really not very long. Just taking a look back to see if we can see the Stalker. I can, so we're actually in pretty good shape. Once we kill the Tonberries, as you can see, door opens to the first boss chamber. And I'm not even going to worry about refreshing dots. I'll just whittle these guys down. Another good thing about me playing this series is it's getting me used to playing Summoner again. Shortly after Stormblood came out, I started playing Red Mage far more often. And I really do enjoy playing Red Mage, but I want to get back into Summoner, so this is really helping me out. This is a really good opportunity to get me used to the class again. Alright. So obviously big AoE field, get out of that. I'm trying to remember if he has anything else he does. I don't remember if this one has a swallow mechanic. There's a similar enemy later on that does, and I don't think this one does. I think this is just a general tank and spank. And stay out of those poison attacks best you can. Okay, actually, I think you do get swallowed if you're in that. Moral of the story, don't be in that. Easy peasy, as they say. I'll roll on that just for possible glamour gear and to get some seals. Alright, so, this next session... There's no real one way through this. There's a lot of ways to handle it, and how you do it really depends on your tank and how your group is prepared to handle it. This is also the section of the dungeon where you're most likely to get yourself stabbed by a Tonberry Stalker, so look sharp. Also, Tonberries in this section of the dungeon will drop Lantern Oil. You always need to pick up the Lantern Oil whenever it drops. Okay. There we go. Because we'll be using them later on. And you'll use the Lantern Oil on those rusted Nemean devices there. The oil will clear away the rust so you can actually activate them. And once you activate those two devices, the door to the next section will open. This is going to be the major mechanic we're going to be following for this second section of the dungeon. Alright, well I got my entry there. Alright, so we should still have one Lantern Oil. Good, we're going to need that for that device there. Okay. So now, there are two more devices in this room we need to activate to open the door to the next room. There's also several Tonberry Stalkers in this room walking specific paths we need to make sure we don't get ourselves killed by. Alright, so yeah, you typically go into this room first. There is the first of the Nemean devices we need to deactivate. Or activate, as the case may be. Also, killing all three of these enemies will get me another hunting log entry. So, okay, so we deactivated that safety protocol. Now, there's a Tonberry Stalker. So we need to move. get out of his range so he'll break contact with us. Keeping in mind there's another Tonberry Stalker down on this level too. Those corrupted Nimians are of interest to me because they're on my hunting log. And the Tonberries release the lantern well, so we'll need that. The second device we need to activate is here. The third is way down at the end of that hall. And there is a Tonberry Stalker. And I'm hoping that over here I'm out of range. Okay, so we activated that device. Ooh, see how much that hurt? Alright. Okay, good. We broke him. We broke free. As soon as he gets down to the end of the hall, he'll disappear and another one will spawn at the end of that hall. But I think we're going to be clear with this section long before that happens. Alright, those are all the hunting log entries for this dungeon. So you can get all of them fairly easily. And again, I don't know if the log is different. If you're playing another Grand Company, but these are the ones for the Immortal Flames. Once you come down this hall, you should be safe from the Stalker. In fact, you'll even get a message that the Stalker has left. Alright, so this guy is going to spawn a bunch of ads. When they group up, I'm going to use Bane to hit all of them. And I'll drop that. Basically, just deal with the ads as they come. There are other mechanics. It's been so long since I've played this, I honestly don't remember. They focus on a single target. What does the attack do? I apologize for not remembering. I believe you just need to keep moving around to avoid his attacks. Alright, the Stalker has appeared. We need to be not here. Uh-oh, one of my uploads has gone wrong. I'm going to have to re-upload that. Shoot. No, that's something I'll worry about later. Oh great, the Stalker's here. The healer's actually keeping everything in check here. Good, that's gonna hurt. Typically, most tanks, for the sake of avoiding that, will worry about getting everybody to this room and taking them all out at once. But again, at this point, everybody's so well geared that you really don't have to worry about that much. Alright, so we need to activate all the devices. Once we get into this room, we're safe from the stalker. And now it's just worrying about this final boss, the Tonberry King. I'm going to skip the cutscene. Getting all sorts of gear, that's good. Alright, so, for this boss, in general, you want to focus on the boss. Take out the Tonberries if they start becoming a threat, but really they're a bigger threat if you kill them, because if you kill them, they're going to increase the Tonberry King's stacks of rancor, which is going to increase the power of this attack everyone's grudge. So, the more you can do without actually killing the Tonberries, the better. That's all she wrote. It was a fairly challenging dungeon when it first came out, but as you're going to see with most of these dungeons, fairly easy now that everybody's well geared. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to collect my loot and get moving. So until then, have a wonderful day.